people would like to get involved in human rights advocacy.
Yeah, and I hope that, at UCLA and everywhere else where there might be somebody listening to this, there are people who are thinking, well, do I want to do human rights work? And if so, how would I do it? Well, yeah, I hope you do want to do.
Yep, definitely.
It drives me to despair sometimes, but
Sorry, you were frozen for like 10 seconds back there.
oh, okay, all right. I'll, are we back on now?
Yeah,
I
that
said, I said, I was, yes, you do, you do want to do human rights work. I think everybody has something in them which says, well, my dignity is important, and I want to work to defend other people's dignity and freedom because my freedom is bound up with theirs. If you've ever had that feeling, then you've had what I think is the animating feeling of human rights work, and you can do it. If I were in my sort of long in the tooth old age here, if I were giving advice to people who want to get into the human rights field, I would say, no, you don't need to be a lawyer. You don't need to go to law school to be an effective human rights advocate. If you're interested in the law, if you're interested in the precision that legal thinking can bring, then by all means go to law school. But don't think that it's a necessity. Nor should you imagine that going off and interning for Human Rights Watch or Amnesty International or Outright Action International or some New York or London-based group will give you the background you need to be an effective human rights advocate. The most important thing you can do, I think, is to try to work with grassroots organizations or work in communities, which can include your local community wherever you are, in Los Angeles or Minneapolis or Mumbai. Find out what people are working on there and get involved. Get involved with a grassroots social movement, get involved with a community-based organization, get involved with a small nonprofit, get involved with people who are working on the sidewalks and on the streets so far as possible, because it's there that you will learn about other people's needs, to get back to this idea of need that I keep returning to, of the immediacy of human need. And you'll see how those needs can be translated and transmuted into claims that people make on governments, into demands that people make on institutions, and then how those claims and demands can be made effective. But you should start, I think, with that immediacy of need, with figuring out what people need and what they're trying to do to get it.
perfect. Thank you. It's really, really good. And finally, what's one core message you want us all to remember?
Again, I just want to return to this idea of inequality because I think it's vastly important right now. We are in a world where freedom and people's basic dignity is under threat, whether it's trans people being doxxed and abused on Twitter, whether it's queers being arrested and tortured in Egypt, whether it's the mass death we're seeing in India as a result of the collapse of a public health system. If we want to defend those freedoms, if we want to defend people's dignity, we have to look at the world as it is. And I think it is really important, it is vitally important to understand that inequality, the economic regression of the last 30 or 40 years, really is a root cause of many, many of these collapses, many of these outbreaks of violence and anger and fear, is the root cause of a great deal of the flirtations with fascism that we're seeing going on around the world. It's crucial to fight inequality. It's crucial to have and to sustain the vision of a world where we can be equal. We can have equal economic opportunities. We can have equal access to food and water and the basic stuff of life, where we can enjoy our environment equally without destroying it. So I would say, think about economics, think about basic statistics of who's suffering in your country, in your community, who's not making it, and who is. Think about ways that you can work to promote awareness of injustice, and think about ways that you can work with other people in communities, in social movements to further equality. Because in doing that, you'll be fighting against violence, you'll be fighting for the freedoms of queer people and millions of other people around you.
That was amazing. Such an honor speaking to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
I'm glad. I did too. It was so good. Thank you. And thank you to all our listeners. All the best. Have a good week.
Thank you. And yeah, just let me know the link when you have it.
I will.